for which I'm not very competent to answer. I have Director Daidisia, who is much more competent on matters of the Constitution and the law. Yes. So if you don't mind, can I ask him to respond to those questions?
I actually don't mind.
Okay.
Mr. Didas Nkurunziza, board.
Thank you, Chairperson. That is a very pertinent question and which has exercised our minds, at least since I joined the board in 2023. As you're aware, the members of the board of Bank of Uganda are appointed by the appointing authority, of course with the approval of Parliament, the President of the Republic of Uganda. And the board, according to the Constitution, as you correctly point out, consists of a governor, a deputy governor, and 5 members of the board. Now, when this matter exercised our minds for quite some time, we looked at the Constitution and we noted that under Article 161(1), the Bank of Uganda is authority. It is the only authority to issue the currency of Uganda. So we then took comfort in Article 251(2) of the Constitution.
Abakungu okuva mu banka y'eggwanga lino enkulu batunudde biriroliro ng'ebiika enkoto nga babadde mu maaso g'abaka abatuula akakiiko ka paalamenti akalondoola entambuza y'emirimu mu bitongole bya gavumenti akakosase nga bano babatadde ku nninga bannyonnyola engeri ssente ezisula mu buwumbi 600 gye zaggyibwa ku akaawunti za banka eno.
Honorable members of this committee, I think you are all aware that this is a matter that is still under investigation by the police CID, and the Auditor General is also undertaking independent investigations.
Abaka bano bakulembeddwamu ssentebe w'akakiiko kano era omubaka wa Busiro East Honorable Medad Lubega Sseggona ng'ona abasabye bannyonnyole wa ssente ezo gye zaalaga n'abantu ky'oba kampuni ki ezaazitwala.
Kituufu nti ssente zaagenda mu nsi bbiri, e Bungereza ne Japan. E Bungereza ne babaako ze baakomyawo n'emitwalo gya $3,910 ne ziba nga tezasobola kudda, zaali zigenze. Ezi Japan zonna zaagenda. Tutegedde nti banka gye baaziweerezaamu e Japan yagaana okukolagana ne Bank of Uganda. Ne batugamba nti n'ekitongole regulating banks e Japan kyabagamba nti tekijja kusobola bayamba kubanga ebyo byali bya commercial bank.
Mukwanukulo omumyuka wa Governor Bank of Uganda Michael Atigi Ego ategeeza nti ssente ezoogerwako zaali za kusasula mabanja gavumenti ge yeewola okuva mu banki y'ensi yonna ne African Development Bank wabula zino ate zaasasulwa kampuni ndala.
And they don't interfere with investigation. So beyond that, I will not answer anything.
Ono era ategeezezza nti abakulu mu minisitule y'ebyensimbi basooka kubalagira basasula obukadde bwa $613 13 eri abakampuni ya Roadway Company Limited nga zino baziyisa mu banka ya MUFG ey'eggwanga lya Japan ng'ate obukadde bwa $850 bazisasula kampani ya MJS International ey'Ebungereza. Wabula okunnyonnyola kuno tekumatizza babaka ne bamuteeka ku nninga abannyonnyola bwe bakitegeera nti ssente bazisasula abantu bakyamu basobola okuzinunula. Ono abategeeza nti no bakigezaako nga bawandiikira aba banki ya MUFG mwe bayisa ssente za Roadway Company Limited, wabula bano baagaana okubayamba nga bagamba nti abaafuna ssente ezo balina buli biwandiiko ebigwanidde okuzifuna nga ne bwe bagezaako okutuukirira aba kampuni ya Roadway baagaana okuzibaddiza. Ono era ategeezeza nti zo ssente ze baali bawadde kampuni ya MJS International ey'Ebungereza babaddizaako obukadde bwa $820. Kyokka babaka okubadde Martin Muzaalo owa Buzaaya County Alan Muyanja Sebunyo wa Nakaseke Central, Kayemba Solo wa Bukomansimbi Central bavudde mu mbeera nga bagamba nti ate ng'ebyannyonnyodde biraze nti si yasaana okukulira Bank of Uganda nga yandibadde yalekulira dde ekifo ekyo.
Amyuka omufu naye taamu ye expiringa omwaka ogujja era ndowooza wabula emyezi ng'esatu gyokka kuba mwezi gwakuna ennaku z'omwezi nga 23 taamu of office ya deputy governor eggwako. So kati tuli mu ggwanga erifaanana bwe lityo ne weebuuza twatuukawo tutya wano.
Tetuyinza kuba bamativu kubanga Bank of Uganda tetaze buvunaanyizibwa bumala mu kulikavaringa ssente zino nangeri ki zagendamu ku awantu awatali suppose kuba.
Ye Honorable Medad Lubega Sseggona alabye ababaka batabuse kwe kubategeeza nti baleme musalaba kugutikka atigika kuba waliwo Ministry y'ebyensimbi eyabawandiikira ng'ebasaba okusasula kampuni ezo wamu n'omuntu yasasula ssente ezo. Wano wasinzidde n'alagira avunaanibwa ku kusindika ssente mu Bank of Uganda Jacob Opolot wamu n'abakungu ba Ministry y'ebyensimbi okulabikako mu kakiiko kano olunaku olw'enkya babeeko bye bannyonnyola.
Tubasabye batuleetere omuntu oba abantu abavunaanyizibwa oba abalina akakwate ku ngeri ssente zino gye zatambula babaleete enkya. Era tusazeewo tuwandiikire ne Ministry ya Finance ejje wano enkya era etubuulire ejje n'omuntu oba abantu abakungu abaawa ebiragiro okusobola okubeera nti kampani zino ziweebwa ensimbi nga tezirina kye zaatukolera.
Annette Namatovu yakusakidde eggulire lino ku lwa KSTV agaleero.
Don't know if you wish. Yeah, so it told us, subject to the provisions of this constitution, any decision of any commission or authority established by this constitution shall require the concurrence of a majority of all its members, and it may act notwithstanding the absence of any member or any vacancy in the office of a member. On reading this, we understood it to mean that where there may be a vacancy in the board of the Bank of Uganda, as it is supposed to be constituted, then this article, at least the framers of the constitution, recognize that there could be a situation where there is a vacancy in the office. I said 251.
251?
251, 2. 251,
Okay.
2. And we follow that up with the Article 257, sub-article 10. B, which guided us that words in the singular include the plural, and words in the plural include the singular.
251.10.
257,
257.10.
10, B. In the interpretation sections, we
Yeah.
say that words in the singular include the plural, and words in the plural include the singular. So when I went back to 251.2, and it talks of a vacancy in the office of a member, I understood it to be telling me that vacancy also means vacancies. So we believe that the Constitution made provisions for situations where, for whatever reason, there may be a vacancy in the constitution of a body. That is as far as the Constitution is concerned. The Interpretation Act also has similar
Deputy
provisions.
Governor, when did Professor Mtebile die? So he's making a third year in January. In other words, 1 month from today, Bank of Uganda will not have a governor for 3 years. Of course, what I'm going to say, Mr. Nkurunziza, with immense respect, is that you know that what you are telling me for telling us and the country is not entirely correct. When they say a fraction of the majority, I mean a fraction of the membership, they refer to the entire membership constituted. Then you can only talk about majority as a fraction of the entirety.
Honorable Chair, from where you and I come from, these are matters we can argue back and forth. And eventually, when we don't agree, it would have to be.
Mr. Nkurunziza, you and I know, so in the matter of the Honorable Sam Kahamba Kutesa,
Correct.
the Honorable Nasasira,
Correct.
and the Honorable Mwesigwa Rukutana, regarding the composition, actually the word used is constitution, of the Inspectorate of Government. What did the Constitutional Court say?
Chair, you're correct, Kutesa. In fact, I and the late Dr. Biamkisha and other counsel are the ones who crafted that argument, which the Constitutional Court eventually accepted.
Were you right?
I'm coming to that.
No,
I was right.
Were you right?
I was right.
Okay.
And what was that case about? That case was the interpretation of Article 230 of the Constitution. And that is about special powers of the Inspectorate. Now, when you look at that special powers of the Inspectorate, you will come back to Article 2521(2), and you'll see that it begins subject to the provisions of this Constitution. Article 230 is one such provision to which 2512 is subject. The Constitutional Court, and I have a copy of the judgment here, was specifically looking into that article. And that article talks about the Inspectorate of Government having specific special powers to carry out given by the Constitution. And it is on that basis that the Constitutional Court was able to conclude, fortunately in my client's favor, that since the Inspectorate at that time only had a Deputy Inspector General, there was no Inspector General of Government, and a second Deputy Inspector General was not, the offices were vacant. The Constitutional Court held that therefore, because of breach of Article 230, the prosecution, or the decision to prosecute and take quasi-judicial powers by the sole Deputy Inspector General was inconsistent with the Constitution.
The ratio is about constitution and composition.
The case was about 230 of the Constitution. And that is a standalone because of what 251(2) says, subject to the provisions of this Constitution. Otherwise, were it not for the fact that 230 was specifically about the Inspectorate of Government, then 251(2) would have applied, and the prosecution of those three ministers would have been valid.
So in 2023, you are appointed a member of the board.
Yes.
And you're not bothered that while you are being appointed by the same appointing authority, the same appointing authority cannot appoint a chair of your board.
First of all,
it doesn't bother you.
First of all, I have never thought or held the position that the appointing authority cannot make an appointment. He can. The Constitution empowers him to do so. Why he has not done so, that is not for me to speculate upon. My appointment to the board was for the purpose of coming to
constituting the board.
I do not constitute it by myself. So it is up to the appointing authority and his advisors to decide at what point they want to appoint X, Y, and Z. Now, fortunately, thankfully, I was appointed and I have been doing my best to serve. And this was the very first question that exercised my mind. And my deputy governor will confirm it that I have talked about it on many occasions, trying to make sure that what we're doing.
Have you ever raised it in your board meetings?
It has never been on the agenda. It has never been on the agenda.
So where do you raise it from? Where informal meetings with the deputy?
Here and there.
On your WhatsApp group?
No, we don't have a WhatsApp group. At least not with me.
You're not on WhatsApp. I know you are.
I am on WhatsApp, but there's no group or where the deputy governor and myself our members.
Okay. Yeah.
Chair.
Of course, today don't mention about the competence or other reason. Yes, Honorable Swami.
Yeah, thank you. These are our senior, somewhere up there, I know, to help us resolve some of these issues. I think the point the chair is raising, the key word is just one. Do you have